Zara clasped her hands over her cold, red ears, grumpily, and sat to the side. She was waiting for Zack and Jean to finish changing into the Chauvain-created suits. The two had worked together to get her and Edith in them first, which she appreciated, except for one thing. It was too big for her. The excess material pulled around her legs and arms. In short, she looked like a bloated land whale, while also making every movement difficult or plain impossible. Sure, the suits were warmer, something she was currently enjoying. Everything not covered by the coat had begun to suffer from mild frost nipping already. The painful prickles, as fresh blood struggled to work its way through the damaged skin, constantly reminded her. Zack found the hidden zipper on his suit and pulled it up with a relieved groan. The extreme cold had helped to dull the ache of his broken arm. The lingering numbness from its astral form being exchanged for mana had begun to fade some. Still, it was uncomfortable and cold enough that his quasi-healing ability alone could not keep him from feeling its effects. Risking the side effects of another healing spell would be worse than trudging over miles of frozen snow. The next spell would fix the broken bone and any other damage to the shoulder if he did it right. The cost to fuel the spell, however, could potentially leave him unable to use his legs, or any other number of things. It was better to wait until later, or just let his ability fix all the damage. Under Zara's orders, the bears had been busy gathering up everything in the area. Pieces of weapons mixed with destroyed clothing, and the bodies. Everything was brought together in a pile for them to go through. It was true they needed to get walking, but before that, they needed to make sure they were prepared. Of the original 5 available suits, they had only needed and been able to use 4. The extra had a hole in its chest from Zack's element-backed attack. The body was pulled from inside it and stripped down like the rest. Unfortunately, the spies hadn't been hiding anything under the suits. Just some thin underclothes no one wanted to wear or touch. Dead bodies released certain things as they relaxed. Who knew? Edith was given the best items they found. Anything to keep her warmer. Mostly, those items had been worn by Dorn, namely his hat and gloves, something that none of the others had been using, as they didn't need them. The travelers had worn masks, back when they had faces, but those had all gone missing somewhere along the way. Only the 2 masks that the ladies who confronted Zack at the end remained. They had been set to the side for later inspection. The suits came with adjustable gloves attached to them as well. It was hard to keep the body temperature properly regulated without them. Jean laid out the remaining clothes flat and frowned. They brought very little in with them, which makes sense considering they weren't expecting to stay more than a few minutes. We have access to snow, so water shouldn't be a problem under decent circumstances. As for food... She turned and looked around. I'm not sure. This portal should be teeming with high-level monsters attacking us non-stop, yet we haven't seen one since we got inside. I can only assume that is either because of what is about to happen, or this area is desolate and barren enough to not interest them. Either way, food may be scarce. Zara grumbled and sighed. I was just getting used to eating good food regularly, too. She waved George over, and with difficulty slowly reached into the small, hidden pouch in his back. I only stored 4 of these, but they should help. In her hand were 4 of the nutrition bars Jean and Rose had given Zack a week earlier. Okay, that will help. Next, then, is transporting Edith and Zara. We need to create a sled or something that we can pull with them in it. With all of this. She pointed to the heap of items the bears had gathered together. Not that. That's ours, Zara shouted, pointing to the pack full of money Dorn had killed the last of their kidnappers over. Zara, that thing weighs almost as much as you, Jean protested. Besides, you don't need it anymore, remember? You were named as the Crown's special scholarship holder. Zara looked away and pouted, since she couldn't properly move her arms. It's still ours. Money should never be wasted. Fine, whatever. We can still use all of this to somehow create a sled. Zack took the staff he had charred with his electrical attack and set it to the side.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.